So, like quality, success is different for everybody. Success for one person is a failure for another person, which is true. But before we became connected, all this internet, digital, and everything, success, you did have to go somewhere else if you wanted to take on the world. Why? Because success was all about location, location, location. Do you remember we always hear that success in business is where you put your store? But my God, how much that has changed in the last couple of years. On now that the store is everywhere. It's not technically a location, but there is a different style of location. But why? Opportunities. So when you would go somewhere else in the older days, you would go to another place, it would be the opportunities, it would be the connections, the people, the talents. Everybody was all crunched into one place. But now, as like I said, look at everything that you have available to you, especially the younger people in the audience. You got your Kickstarter, your LinkedIn, Facebook, outsourcing of people are building things from other countries in the world for another part of the world. Everything is interconnected in a very big way. But now we have better tools, we have better connections, information, contacts. Everything is all in your phone, technically. In the general, the location is now in your pockets. Which I know this sounds very cliche, but it's true. But as they say, I think I was just talking, I just added this at the last minute, but it's true. We're all 4 contacts, or it could be 3, or it could be 5, but I view that we're all about 3 to 4 contacts away from meeting that one specific person that we want to meet. If I want to meet my Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, no, I'm about 2 contacts away, because I know somebody who works for him. But in general, you can find anyone you want. You're only 4 contacts away, and you don't have to travel to the other side of the world, be at the right place at the right time. So why do we feel the need to leave home to find this success? Why do we feel that we need to leave? I'm going to use Ukraine as an example. Why do we need to leave? People feel they need to leave Ukraine in order so they can find life success. To New York, to Los Angeles, Silicon Valley, London, all the great places. These were locations in the days. There's lots of success in New York, but there's also, what people don't report, a ton of failure. Huge amounts of failure, but we don't hear about the failures, do we? We hear only about the great success. The Hollywood actor who was found on the streets in Los Angeles and then became a megastar. We don't hear about the 3,000 other people who did the same journey, but then ended up going back to their hometowns and forever to be forgotten about it. Simply because in New York, in all these cities, there's a higher amount of opportunities that are happening. There's more results. Example, Los Angeles. So of course there's going to be more successes that are going to happen. But we're wired to perceive that because, let's say here in Kyiv, there's not as many successes, therefore we cannot succeed. Because we don't hear about all these glory stories. We only hear about the people who went to New York, to Los Angeles, and all that did. So we feel wired that we need to leave in order to succeed. But the ratio of success is much lower at home, which is what I just said. But what about Israel? What about Estonia? I'm going to speak about that in a second. I'll come back to that in a way. Sweden, Ukraine. I know personally huge amounts of success stories. I've been here for 17 years in Ukraine, but I've traveled around the world in a big way. I'm a French-Canadian, but I fell in love with the country, and I know countless international successes that are from Ukraine, but I also know a lot of people in Vilnius, in Lithuania, that are doing incredible things. People in Estonia, Skype was brought there, and still the core office is still there. But people always think, we were just discussing that, I thought that was American. It's Estonian. And there's a lot of these companies, but most end up making all their money in the United States. Locations, you have to understand, locations inspire new ideas, not success. Only you can be inspired to create your own success. It's not the location, it's you. If I go to New York, a lot of people, 99% are not successful. But the people who are successful have been inspired with New York, as they say all the time, I'm going to make it. If I can't make it here, I can't make it anywhere. It's all in the DNA of the city that you can be inspired by what it has to offer, and this can create you success. But experiences open new dimensions within yourself. Every time there's an experience, good, bad, positive, negative, it hits you inside and it creates something that changes you. It leads you to your success on your terms, not the location. The location doesn't determine if you're going to be successful. You determine if you're going to be successful by what your inspiration is going to be. I'm looking back at my screen often because I have a bad habit of rambling on once I get into one story, so I'm forcing myself, kind of like changing one stone to another. I'm forcing myself to stay on track because I could speak for 30 minutes about one subject ongoing. So I love this saying, and I heard it a long time ago, but a mind once stretched will never regain its original form. Now you can take that in any way that you want. We're not taking it figuratively, but it'd be the mind stretched to new ideas, new experiences. You can only go forward, but you can never go back. And that's a real hard truth. So example, sorry, me, French-Canadian as they say. I am a Canadian and I live in Ukraine for 17 years. Now people are saying all the time is, why are you here? Every Ukrainian tells me, politicians, I work with the Ukrainian government very deeply and everybody, and they're all shocked, why are you here? We're happy you're here, don't go. But why are you here? Because Ukraine inspires me. It gives me very, very deep insight. Something about it. I've lived in Moscow, I've lived in China, I've traveled the world very heavily. In each of those places, like people tell me, you should be in New York. Guy like you should be in New York, Luke. I am in New York. I'm also in LA, I'm in Silicon Valley, I'm everywhere at once. I have connections, I have business associates, and I do everything. I don't have to be physically there in order to succeed, I am there. I've lived in many countries, blah, 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 I've already said this. But what I love is that I was born and raised in a small farm town outside of Montreal. And I never could have gotten the types of experiences. It would not have shaped the success that I am today. The person that I have become in the last 20 years is completely different. But the only way in order for me to have succeeded in where I am today, and I'm not done, I'm just starting as far as I'm concerned, is because of the experiences that I've had. I've absorbed it and that turned into that. So it's not about the locations. The locations inspired me. They didn't make my success. I made my own success. So it's a different angle that makes my views more unique back home. When every time I go back to Canada, I'm basically growing a mindset, an arsenal, but people find me an absolute strange animal. They say, you're Canadian, but you're not really Canadian. They say, we can see the way you dress. My red jacket goes over very well in Canada, but here it's considered kind of normal. It's Christmas, I got Jesus on me. But I'm still Canadian, but at home I'm seen as something very, very different, is what I say, you know, and I'm proud of that. I'm viewed as a mutt, a hybrid. I'm not Ukrainian, I'm not Canadian, I'm not anything, but my passport says that I'm Canadian. And I still, but when I'm here, people say, yeah, you're not really one of us, you're more American or Canadian. I've absorbed all these new and unique experiences that are making my success and how I view and how I want to control them. But one day, I'm going to return to Canada, maybe, but right now I want to experience too many other things. And you know what? The success that I'm going to do, because I'm already starting a new company in the United States, and it's Canada, it's going to be based in Toronto, but with some affiliate offices in New York, you know what they're going to write in the newspapers and all that? Homegrown talent takes on the world. But all of this was brought in by traveling the world and actually absorbing the experiences on that. So in short, you can now be everywhere at once. I said this, I have a bad habit, by the way, of sometimes jumping my own slides, which is why I have to force myself. But experiencing new things is what will make you more successful. It's not about moving or running away from your issues and everything, because home, you can never run away from them. It's always there. So we each have our own destinations to experience in order to achieve our own visions of success. The global success is not defined by the place. I said this, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself a bit, but more by what you create from the experiences required. So all of you are young, you're starting out, but you're going to be traveling consistently. You need to absorb as much as possible. But over time, once you get to close to my age, you'll start understanding, I remember that guy and he was absolutely right. Even from your own home here in Ukraine. So you are everywhere. You just don't know it yet. All right? Thank you.